Welcome to an introduction to Zilliz Cloud. Zilliz Cloud, built on the robust open-source Milvus vector database, empowers you to extract valuable insights from your unstructured data. The magic lies in the evolution of neural networks, enabling you to grasp the semantic meaning of data by transforming unstructured information into vector embeddings. Imagine the power to discover semantically similar items through an approximate nearest neighbor search, thanks to vector embeddings. Whether your data comes from images, text, video, or audio files, Zilliz Cloud equips you to extract meaningful insights from the vast reservoirs of unstructured data within your organization. This capability extends to fueling RAG applications, driving recommender systems, enhancing fraud and anomaly detection, and supporting a number of solutions that depend on uncovering semantically similar data through vector embeddings. Zilliz Cloud helps you to build powerful AI applications that are fast, secure, and built at scale for your employees and customers. First, let's take a look at the pricing options. There is a free tier to help you build your first prototype with no credit card required. The next two options are the standard and enterprise options that are differentiated by levels of security, compliance, and support. In both of these options, there are 3 CU types that are available to best suit the requirements of your specific use case when it comes to latency, throughput, and capacity. There's also a handy pricing calculator to help you determine what plan and CU types you might want to consider by looking at your data size, which is number of vectors and dimensions, as well as allowing you to run Zilliz Cloud where you want on your preferred cloud services, including AWS, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure. In addition, there are purchasing options that make sense for your business. Options include purchasing on the Zilliz site or using your credits on AWS or Google Cloud Marketplace. In addition, monthly and annual price plans are also available. So let's switch over to the application and see what Zilliz Cloud is all about. Okay, so we're going to go through the Zilliz Cloud application, and for this moment we're going to pretend like we've just logged in. And you can see here I'm in the Zilliz Cloud interface, and I'm using my default project, and within my default project I have a cluster called 007, and you can see it here, cluster 007, and it's using GCP US West, and it's running, and I just created it just a couple days ago. We're just going to take a look at the navigation on the left. So right underneath clusters, you can see we have a new pipelines service, which is currently in beta. So if you want to create your vector embeddings from your documents, you could do that. You can also add collaborators to your instance. You can also, there's some security features here, so you can make sure that if there are particular IP addresses that you want to only trust, you can do that. You can also set up your private link if you want to. You can also take a look at all your alerts and also set up your different alerting for your instance. And this is kind of cool. There's a nice little playground here, so you can kind of explore, how to actually interact with your instance. And then on the top, we can go back to the projects. We can take a look at our billing, see what our invoice looks like. I'm currently just using the free tier, which is a free forever tier. And it currently only runs on GCP, but it works just fine. And it gives you 2 collections of 500,000 vectors, which I think is pretty sufficient for just running on some tests, building a little prototype. You can also take a look at your usage if you want, and if you have any invoices. You can see in this new instance that I created, I don't have any history. I can also grab my API keys, and then I can also go back to see if I've invited any collaborators and any members. So a fairly straightforward, simple user interface. And what we'll do next is we will go to our projects, and we're going to play around with one of the instances. So we're going to go into our cluster, and you can see that I actually already have an instance, a collection already created. And this was actually, I just grabbed some data from a data source called Medium Articles, and just as the name suggests, it's just some of the articles that we scraped from Medium. and we'll take a look at that in a little more detail in a sec. But you can see that I created this collection January 23rd, and there's 5,979 entities in here. And I can, take a look at if there's any jobs, import more data, and I can also go back to that playground that we looked at earlier. I can also preview my data in here. And you can see here I have a couple of fields. I have my ID field, so it can identify the actual entity in my collection. I also have something called title vector, which is actually the name of the field that's holding this crazy looking set of numbers, which is my actual vector embedding. And then we have a couple other metadata, some other information that I might filter on that's pretty useful. So you can see, if you remember, if you look at Medium articles, it tells you how long it would take you in minutes to read the article. It'll let you know what the publication is. Also, in this case, we grab the links as well. So you may want to filter first on something like reading time. You might want to say, oh, I want to find things that are less than 10 minutes. And then I want to find similar things to a particular topic that are less than 10 minutes, as an example. And then from here, I can also do a vector search if I want. So I can, do my filtering here if I wanted to. I can actually throw in my query for the vector on top. And then there's also some advanced search parameters down here as well, if you want to play around with it. And then the nice thing is you can see the results. And then we can take a look at the schema, and our schema in this particular case is pretty simple. And it is a vector database, so of course, you always have to have a field that's going to hold the ID, and of course your vectors. That's what we're looking at all the time. And then we also have an index that's associated with this, and also a metric type, and we're using the L2 metric type for this particular data. Of course, I can also, rename this collection. I can copy the collection and drop. So these are just kind of things that you would expect to have in any kind of a database. And this is what our database looks like. So let's just play around a little bit in our data. If we go back to our data preview, and we could just do a quick click here. So show 3 fields. And it's going to just expand the information that we have, and it looks like we also have the title of the blog post and also the claps. This is the kind of like the thumbs ups that you see in a Medium article. And I can just do a vector search here, and it's actually going to plop into this query field the vector embedding from that entry that we just looked at. And just to do something really simple, we just hit search, and then we'll see search results. And then anything that is near will show up. And it also shows you the ranking, so you can see this one is the closest, and then the second one, third one, etc. Most people are obviously not going to be living in this UI because usually you're in your application doing these queries. Regardless, this is a really nice way to kind of get started, start to play around with it, take a look at your data. And then build out a couple of queries, and then put those queries into your application and then build something that's pretty cool. A couple other things that I want to bring up. So let's go back to our cluster, and we can also see here that I can see a little more information about my cluster details as well. So if I need this public endpoint, if I need the API key. It also tells me where this cluster region is. It happens to be in West 1. It's on the starter plan, which is the free forever plan, and it's using Milvus 2.3 as kind of the central database, and it was created by me. I can also, of course, migrate this to a dedicated cluster. So if I choose, after playing around with this, if I want to expand on it, add more to it, I might need to upgrade my instance. So a very simple migration path here. And then I can see back to what we saw before, the number of collections, number of users, and any kind of roles that they have, and if I want to import any data. And actually, you can see in these import jobs, I actually had a failure at the other day at 9:07. So I don't remember what I did, but probably did. So I was missing information when I was trying to import, so I think I was just kind of mucking about. But if I want to create a new collection, an additional collection, I can do that by simply clicking on the plus collection. And I just add in a new name. Put in a little description. I'm going to throw this away anyways. And then, you know, I can define my schema however I want. And I can also change the metric type depending on the my vector embeddings. I can do that. And there's also some advanced settings down here. So I can also choose to, you know, have a dynamic field. So that might be useful if you don't know what other, especially when you don't know what other metadata you might want to bring in. I can also establish a partition key, which is really useful to then, you know, kind of put your data into these different groups. And then I would just hit create collection. Let me just put in 1036. Oops. 1536. Okay. And then I've created my collection here, so super easy. And then if I want to import the data, I can just simply click import, and then I can go and grab that data. If you're just playing around with it for the first time and you just want to look at some sample data, you can use that same Medium article data set. You can just grab it from here and then just bring it in like I did. I'm not going to do it because it takes just a little bit of time, and I don't want to spend time just waiting here for that to import. But anyways, a really quick look at our UI for Zilliz Cloud. And you know, some of the new features that we have is the cosine similarity metric that we saw. In our particular case, we're using L2, but you saw that the cosine one was available. There's also something called range search that's available. So if you don't want to find the top K, but maybe you want to find, like, you know, a range, a number of results within a particular range, you can do that instead. And there's also a number of security enhancements. Zilliz Cloud is built on the powerful Cardinal search engine. It outperforms Milvus and excels in a wide range of vector search applications with multiple engineering innovations. It was built to reduce your total cost of ownership and empower your team to do even more with less. It goes beyond Milvus with essential enterprise features for a production-ready platform. So try it today at Zilliz.com and get started for free.